Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to this pre and postnatal friendly Pilates session. We're going to come straight into a supine position, so we won't be here for long. If you're feeling like you're past the point where you want to lie on your back, you can always prop yourself up on a cushion, but I feel like we are going to be here for such a short time, it's going to be okay. Rocking the pelvis forward and then back, flattening out all the space, and then arching the back to create more space. And then just starting to come into an awareness of the breath, so a full and nice, deep, expansive inhale. Let the belly really inflate and the pelvic floor soften and relax. And then on the exhale, that natural contraction and a little bit of a lift through the pelvic floor, and then maybe even a drawing down of the lower abdomen. And just a couple more cycles of that breath as you find a neutral pelvis somewhere between the flat back and the overly arched lower back. And at the bottom of the next exhale, just tuck the chin and give yourself a nice long back of neck. Draw the shoulders together and down and really press them down into the mat to drive down through the heels and come up into a little low bridge position here. And then take the arms extended out from the shoulders directly in front of the face. And we're just going to hold this glute bridge for a second as we just do some chest press. So draw the elbows down to kiss the mat and then back up to that extension. Just opening through the hips, squeezing the glutes, as well as opening through the chest, activating some of the muscles that we're going to use in some of our other movements today. And then let's take the pelvis down and the arms wide, and then the pelvis up, arms together. Just for another 10 of these, just waking up through the glutes as well as the chest and the upper mid-back. So obviously as you open your arms wide, your mid-back squeezes together to allow that expansion in the front body. There's the contraction in the back body. And the same with the hips. As we come up, the hip joint extends open, and to do that, the glutes have to squeeze and contract at the back body. Okay, if you've lost the sync of these movements, do not worry. We're just here for another 3, 2, and 1. And then slowly release and roll over to one side and come up to quadruped for me. So, we're going to extend from a neutral position, so a nice long back of neck, broad through the collarbones, slight lift of the rib cage and the lower abdomen, and then that neutral pelvis. So somewhere between the cat and the cow is your neutral pelvis. And then push down through the left hand and the right knee to extend the right arm and the left leg nice and long. And just hold this for a couple of breaths here, remembering on the inhale we soften and expand. And on the exhale, there's that squeezing in, deeper contraction, and lift through the pelvic floor. Inhale, exhale. Little bend in that supporting arm, tiny bend in the elbow, and just an even distribution of the weight between the knee and the hand. At the bottom of the next exhale, or on the next exhale, let's squeeze the knee and the elbow in and under, and then extend long on the inhale. And we're going to move through 10 of these. This is our 8th. Get long from the fingertips to the tips of the toes. And then squeeze in, everything in and under to lift and contract. We've got 5. 4, try and control the movement and be really easy in the mind and the face here, paying attention without judgment or gripping or striving for the perfect move. 2 and 1. Let's hold, get long, 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 and release. And then let's come down to a modified side plank. So we're going to come onto the right knee and extend the left arm, peel the chest up and open, maybe let the head go. And then it's like we're swimming backstroke with this left arm. Let's take it down in front of the body, all the way up and over beside the ear, and then all the way up like a clock face, around, over, up, back and down. We'll do another 6 of these rotations, just in your own time. drawing up through the side waist on the right side, and then the left side waist is extended nice and long. And then reversing. I've got these little light hand weights on just because they do add a little bit of spice, but they also help me really pay particular attention to any sort of stretching, because they really give you such an awareness of where your body is in space and a little bit of counter leverage to use. And then let's just hold. And you're going to be able to win a pair of these bangles in the anti-challenge challenge that I'm going to be running in January, so I'll give you some more details about that soon, and you might be able to have a pair of your own. But they're really handy. A couple of different brands make them. Okay, let's come to bird dog on the other side now. So we'll extend, when we're ready, the right arm and the left leg, nice and long. No, we won't. We'll extend the right leg and the left arm. There we go. And then let's hold that, getting as long as we can. You can flex or point the foot, whatever feels best for you. And then on the next exhale, we'll squeeze the knee and elbow in and under. Inhale to extend, exhale to contract. And there's going to be a little bit of flexion through the spine there just to get that knee in and under, but we want to actually try and isolate the movement to the hip and shoulder joint rather than creating that space by flexing overly through the spine. We do that sometimes, but in this one, I want you to see if you can bring your knee and elbow to touch just using your hip joint, squeezing the knee in and under and keeping the chest and the spine relatively stable and neutral. We're just going to do these for another 4, 3, and of course as well, if you've got a nice round belly, I should have said, then the knee and the shoulder can come out to the side, or just the knee can come out to the side and the hand can come in by the waist. And 1. And then I'm going to face you, but come onto the left knee, plant the left hand, and extend into that modified side plank on the right side now. Lift the chest, tiny micro bend in the supporting arm, and then those circles, backstroke, just creating mobility through the shoulder joint by taking it through its full range of motion here. And when you feel ready, you want to swap, go in the other direction. Trying to articulate the highest point at each kind of the widest angle of the circle, the widest point. As far down, as far up, as far over as you can. And then when you're ready, we'll let that go. And the next move we're going to do is coming from a low kneel to a high kneel. So if your knees are a bit funky, you can always roll your mat or support yourself with a bit of a cushion if they feel like they don't really like this move. So low kneel, hips stacked roughly over heels, and then high kneel, we just kneel up and we avoid thrusting or changing too much in the position of the pelvis here. We're just coming up and down, squeezing the glutes, of course, to extend the hip to sit up, and then to control the lower back down. So really not thrusting this one, really smooth and controlled, just extending and flexing at the hip. And then when you feel like you've got that, again, like we practiced on our backs, the chest press or the mid-back squeeze by drawing the elbows back and imagining that the shoulder blades are squeezing together and down. Well, not imagining, actually squeezing the shoulder blades together and down. We're going to do another 8 of these. Such a beautiful day here. I hope that you've really been able to enjoy a little bit of time out of the normal routine. Even though care work and parenting does not go on holidays, I just hope that you've been able to either get some extra help from family or just mix it up with a change of scene. And let's let that go. Take a couple of big deep breaths, just like we did at the start. So inhale, soften through the belly, expand and fill the body with breath. And then on the exhale, work with the natural contraction by squeezing, lifting the pelvic floor and the whole 360 degrees of the core. Okay, we're going to come and stand at a wall. So get yourself somewhere where you can. Be supported for a wall sit. So knees roughly over ankles. Pelvis is going to be slightly above the knees. The lower down you go, the harder it's going to be to hold. So slightly above the knees I feel like is just a nice sweet spot here. And again, like we practiced, I think I'm in the frame, yes I am, not a flat back to the wall, keep that neutral spine. So the sort of lower ribs are going to be in contact with the wall, and then, yeah, you'll feel a contact down near the sacrum. Okay, let's take the arms up and overhead. And we're going to squeeze a W. It's like you want to keep the back of the forearms connected as much as you can with the with the wall the whole time. As you squeeze the elbows lower down than the chest press, they actually come all the way down into the sides, broaden through the collarbones, and keep the arms in external rotation. And then extend them up and overhead. Squeeze the W in and the palms can turn up to the sky, and then the palms can turn to face out as the arms go overhead. It's pretty strong, so we're just going to do another 6 of these. And if you're prenatal, it's good to just say something out loud to yourself and just check where your voice is at. Can you talk, or are you starting to lose your breath and your ability to talk, in which case maybe modify, so come out of it a little bit or just hold the wall squat without the arms. If you're with me, this is our last 2 and 1. Okay, and then we're going to come up, stand up, and we're going to come into 20 squats with a little bit of a calf rise challenge at the top. So hands can come just to a nice prayer pose or to hips, and just like we've been practicing with neutral pelvis, we just sit down, and then as we come up, we avoid the thrust. The thrust is going to mean it's very hard to balance. So we just sit back, and then as we stand up, we come to neutral, and then we lift from there, little calf rise. Sit back, stand up, little calf rise. And if you want to ditch the calf rise at any point, you do that. We're going to do another 16 of these. Inhale to squat down, exhale to contract, squeeze and lift up. 12. Okay, halfway, let's do another 10. And if that feels pretty good, you can start to include a little bit of a challenge. So you could take the arms out nice and wide, or you could do a little bicep curl up as you stand up, or as you squat up, it just looks like that. Another 6, 5, nice and full and deep squats. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, this is our last wall sit. We're still working with shoulders, just not drawing in and down. This time we're going to extend opposite arms overhead nice and long. So come back down to the wall sit, take the left arm overhead and the right arm overhead. Breathing, trying to be nice and easy in the face and the mindset here. 7, 6, and just make sure that you've got a nice long back of neck, and that this movement is only happening at the shoulder joint. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And try and squeeze through the pelvic floor to come up and out of this. Support yourself in transitions. And then we are into our last little move. So 2 options for this. We're going to come down into a squat and do some little crab walks. And you can take the arms out, turn the palms up to the sky and do some little circles from the shoulder joint with an extended arm. Or if you want to try the bicep curls, you can do that. So when you're ready, feet about hips distance, we'll sit down, extend the arms if you're doing that option. And this movement is going to come from the hip joint. So it's an abduction of the hip joint. We're taking the foot out at the hip. That's what's moving us to one side and then back the other side. Bicep curling. Sitting up though out of the squat, so a nice proud chest. A little bit of a drawing together of the ribs, lift of the lower abdomen. And just an awareness of the pelvic floor. It's not gripping the whole time. We're just aware. We're conscious, we're paying attention. We're going to do 2 more laps. So I'm going to go all the way down. Stepping, stepping, try and stay nice and low. I like to imagine that I've got to go underneath something. 2, 1. So good. And we are all done for today. If you've got time, I highly recommend taking a little bit of an opposite elbows stretch and then a little bit of a one elbow over the other, kind of Gomukhasana, elbow kind of peeling, flossing open, and then a little bit of a glute opening stretch, a figure 4 sitting back and down. But if you've got to fly, you've got to fly. I'll see you soon.